Welcome to Talk About Topeka, our television edition on MyTV. We've had a great week of guests on our radio show last week, and we're going to be showing some of those folks to you here tonight. So sit back, relax, enjoy what we have to show you. We'll be showing you little snippets from the radio show. So if you like who you're seeing on the television show, you can go back and find the podcasts on our website and watch more with them. Usually 10 to 12 minutes with the folks on talkabouttopeka.com. So sit back, relax, enjoy that popcorn. This show starts right now.
The City Council approved the money to do the infrastructure under Kansas Avenue from 6th to 10th Street. You know, we can see what's above ground, the medians, the curbs, the streets, all crumbling, and it's in terrible shape. It's been almost 28 years since anything was done downtown. What we can't see is what's underneath the street. The water lines, the sewers, the gas lines. Some of that stuff has been there for over 100 years.
We just found that out. We had the electrical lines coming up to our building. There was actually a fire underground that cut our building off half phase and shut us down for a bit, and then we had to, of course, deal with all of that. So to know that all of those things are being taken into consideration at this time, that's going to help a lot. And to look at the stuff they dug out of the ground, that stuff is old.
Well, real old. And you know, I looked in one of the holes they dug the other day, and the old ties for the trolley lines were exposed, and those are at least 100 years old.
I saw that picture on your Facebook. And I know there's a lot of businesses talking. Edie Smith was on our show. She's with your office at DTI, and we were talking about some of the new businesses that have opened up down here. Have you been seeing a rush of those?
Well, you know, there have been quite a few. I think there's been at least a dozen new ones in the last year. I wouldn't say it's a rush. We would love to have a rush, but we are seeing a lot of businesses looking at downtown. Because they realize that the future is going to be in this district. Whether, you know, tying Noto to downtown, this core is going to be really busy. And, you know, we have 25,000 people at least that work downtown every single day. Plus, you add the visitors and all the people that go to the Capitol annually, which we estimated at least 100,000. And that's a lot of individuals that would be great to market to on a daily basis.
We are with Deb ISIL again. How are you? We talked with you last week.
Still good.
Still good.
Still good. I love the again. And
she's such an interesting character.
She is.
Another one.
I was just saying to her, you know, I had no idea what we were talking about today, and I said, I bet you we don't have to talk about anything before we get on the air.
That's right.
She will have something to say.
Yep.
It's absolutely perfect.
I was speaking at some luncheon engagement one day, and I got there, you know, like right at the time to get started, and I'm sitting next to the guy who's never heard me speak and, you know, had no clue who I was or anything. Somebody just booked me for that, and I looked at him about 5 minutes before he introduced me, and I said, "What am I talking about today?" And the expression on his face,
like the blood drains on his face.
It's absolute terror. And he said, "Well, you were supposed to be talking about XYZ." I'm like, "Okay, I just wanted to know, you know." And well, who cares? Whatever it is, you know, I get up and I know what I know. I mean, obviously.
I think to the layman, you know, I shouldn't say that, but just to everyday people, you know, they have things that they're willing to talk about, but they just don't normally talk in front of people. And so we do that all the time, kind of. I mean, you also know so much about the history of just about everything, and so you can easily just talk about anything. And make it interesting.
Well,
actually,
that's part of the journalist. I mean, you know a little bit about a lot of things, so I know enough to at least ask the right questions, or I can connect it to something. You know, so yeah, I can usually do 15 or 30 minutes worth about anything.
You really can. And today we have Carice Mapes with us from 785 Magazine.
Hello.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you back.
Yes, this is my exciting Tuesday mornings. I'm definitely digging it, so thank you.
And of course we need all of the info of fun things that are going on. We spoke a
Absolutely.
little bit before we got on the air, and you were talking about Reefer Madness.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. This show opened last weekend. There's 2 more weekends left. It's at Topeka Civic Theater. It's in the old Grandfather Theater. So that's the smaller theater that's off to the side. A little more intimate. Tickets are a lot cheaper. Tickets are only $15. And if you're not familiar, Reefer Madness, the musical, is based off the 1936 film. Where
like a scare tactic film.
A scare tactic film. You know, weed is bad. Do not do it. And if you do, all of these crazy bad things are going to happen. You know, jazz music and sex.
No,
and,
We want jazz music and we want sex,
you know,
right?
But it's absolutely a spoof. It's hilarious. I've had the privilege of talking to some people who were involved with it, and it's definitely an adult, show to go to, but it's absolutely hilarious. At the old Grandfather Theater, something to know is it's not a dinner theater. And typically you can't have drinks in there. Well, for this particular show, they changed it. So during intermission, you can go to 420, the room 420, of those who got that.
They have a room 420 there?
Well, archive room, but the number's 420 for the show.
Oh, okay, just for that
And you can get drinks and munchies, and you can take them back into the theater for the second act. And then after the show, they're having a little happy hour special. So they're really accommodating to the audience who might really be interested in this show.
As long as they have Funyuns and Cheetos, it's going to be
exactly.
We're with Edie Smith, and you were here with me last week, and you didn't get to talk with Jamie that time.
I know, it was because I was avoiding you.
That's what I
tried to avoid you this year.
She had super secret Tom Cruise Mission Impossible kind of stuff to do, so.
I'm starting to take it personal.
Yeah, no, at all. Okay, so many great things are going on, obviously, with downtown. They've started ripping things up. We knew that it was going to look like this. But the consensus is that people are still doing fine. The businesses are open and things are going well.
That's correct. Everything seems to be moving along as normal. Events are still happening. People are dining and shopping, and the workforce is still getting in and out. So it's been great.
Yeah. And we had Vince Fry on earlier, and we got to talk with him a little bit about what's happening downtown. And he mentioned a lot of these events that have happened. There's like 30 new events that have happened in downtown the last year. That first-time events. A lot of that, is thanks to you and the crew there.
Can you name all 30 of those events?
And
no,
go.
I'm just kidding.
I can. That's a scary thing. I can.
Okay, well, we're not going to make you do that. But something that you are going to be doing, we talked a little bit about this with Carice Mapes from 785 Magazine as well. But Tap That is a Capital Brew Festival that's going on right here in Topeka. This is your second annual. Tell
Correct.
us a little bit about that.
We're very excited because we did it for the first time last year, not knowing what we were doing and organizing something that was totally foreign to us.
That's totally what I want us to talk about if we can, because there were so many of these things that you did for the first time last year, and now you're bringing them back for the second year because many of them were very successful. And so you're looking at all that and saying, all those first-time events, that first year, they were all successful. You're bringing them all back. These are things that are becoming annual for downtown. So aside from the construction, you're having events that are bringing people downtown, starting to evolve. Tap That was a very successful one of them last year. I kind of want to talk about the process of how did you start something brand new from scratch and get so many people in on it the first year?
Well, the inception of Tap That Topeka started when the Intercity Visit went to Fort Collins, Colorado, and they're a huge American craft brew city. And they hold a huge brew festival, which got many of those people excited. So when they came back and they're talking about what can we do in Topeka that would be fun and exciting, that one kept rising to the top. So at that point, we started investigating what would be involved. We got Strathman Sales involved initially in the beginning and just started pounding through this process with them and with the Blind Tiger. So we were bringing resources in that could help give us guidance because I'm ignorant on this. I didn't know what was going on. I'd never even been to a brew festival. So
I really haven't either.
Jamie calls me ignorant, but it's for other reasons.
But with this, it's people get like a band, right?
That's correct.
They pay to get in and then they get to sample.
That's right. You have to be 21 to participate,
well, of course.
at least in the brew sampling portion. You can be under 21, 18 or over, and be a designated driver for somebody. And then you partake in non-alcoholic drinks that are provided by Pepsi. So the Pepsi products come into play.
Correct.
This year is kind of special, and I'm jumping the gun here, but we're also going to have root beer brewed
Yeah,
So
That's really cool.
That is really, really great.
Yeah,
so that is something that
non-drinkers can do
taste
that.
to not
Yeah.
get inebriated. I don't know. I guess, or I
We-
could
we
still drive
think
people
not.
home.
Are there a lot of different types of root beers around that are coming?
You know,
to
that's kind of a popular soda that's being brewed. You'll see different ones across Kansas. Even Blind Tiger has a root beer that they brew, and most people
I
may
did
not be
not know
aware of
that.
that.
I've had that one time. It's delicious.
Yeah.
It really is good.
Yeah, I remember making those sorts of things like at family reunions and stuff like that. But anyway, just something that's fun and interesting. But something really new, especially in the alcohol world, is a crafted brew. They're saying that hipsters, always, like their crafted brews. They're moving toward that. It used to be kind of a wine thing, but now it's the brews thing, and you kind of jumped on that, and you're going to make this work.
Exactly, and it's so appealing to people because the flavors are so diverse, and they're using fruits and spices and different things, chocolate even, in some of the brew styles. So it's really kind of a connoisseur type sampling and testing. It's not to drink volumes, it's to drink quality. And so you don't really see people at the brew festivals get really inebriated because that's not their thing.
That's not their point.
It's not Saturday night fun time.
Taste.
It's discriminating taste. They want to just see how different things interact and affect the flavor of a style. And then they love talking to the brewers to find out how they did it.
Oh yeah,
This sold well.
Yeah.
This last year when you did this for the first year.
Yeah.
We've had a little talks before about this and just on our own, but it sold much better than you expected it to take off.
Yeah,
right?
we had between 900 and 1,000 people last year, and we've increased the ticket sales to 1,500 this year, which should make us about the largest brew festival in Northeast Kansas.
That's huge to be able to do that and to be that for the second year. I mean, that's really...
Well, we've had people tell us that we were crazy to go that large the first year, but we didn't know better.
Yeah, you just kind of wait for it.
But we have our handle on it now, and we feel like we'll grow bigger and bigger as time goes on. But we do want to manage that growth to make sure that we keep it a quality event and do it with excellence.
Yeah.
And even down on Kansas Avenue, there's a home brewer company. What's it called? I can't.
Downtown Craft Brew.
Downtown Craft Brew. I jump on.
Well,
you guys
our
about
root
that.
beer brewing company is downtown as well. It's called Top City Soda.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's a new one.
Brian
Yeah.
Adams, yes.
From Soda Works.
From Soda Works,
You
who
go to
carry the
events, you
vintage
see them.
sodas.
Yeah, the little glass bottles.
So they're starting a bottling process, and you'll start seeing that available places. But I don't know if we're the launch point for it or not. I'm kind of excited
I
that
think
they'll
it's
be a
pretty
part of
cool.
it.
Welcome back to Talk About Topeka, and today we have Hal Gardner here with us from
Hello,
Rusty
how are you?
Haggles. We're so good.
Good.
You have one of those faces where everybody knows you, kind of a look. Yes, that's the way everybody feels. Well, we're so excited that you're here with us.
Good to be here.
And you're from Rusty Haggles out in the Noto Arts District.
And my wife will be glad to hear that.
Yes.
Of course, she really is the one that gets the credit for it because it was her dream to have the store.
Oh, that is wonderful.
I've just kind of assisted along the way, or at least haven't gotten in the way.
Yeah. So you kind of help her along with her dreams.
Yeah.
And she helps you along with
Oh, yeah.
your dreams?
It all goes together.
It does. Okay, so I know that with the Noto Arts District, in the beginning, I'm really going to be one of those that admits, in the beginning I was thinking, what?
Yeah.
Never gonna
How could
happen
this-
is what I thought.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen.
And I'm just thinking, you bought in way early on.
Thanks to Senator Laura Kelly primarily. She's a neighbor, and we were talking.
woman.
We were chatting about our desire to get an antique store going, and we were talking about a location somewhere else. And she said, "Nope, you get yourselves down to North Topeka. That's an up and coming place." And she was dead on.
Yeah. And you do have an amazing store.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's full of stuff that, I spent a day there. I was with my mom, and I ended up hanging out in the section where you had these little records that were like those play records, like the Fisher Price
Right.
The Victrolas and everything.
Oh my gosh. We sat there and played those records over and over. It was but it was the neatest experience. And so you really are kind of taken through time in a place like that.
And I try to do that when people come in and they appear to be interested in something. I'll try to demonstrate it for them and make it happen.
Here we are on Talk About Topeka with Chris White from Let's Help. Now you are an instructor there for the adult education program. Chris, thank you for coming here and joining us on Talk About Topeka today. So tell us a little bit, I'm curious here, what does an adult ed instructor for Let's Help do?
All right, typical adult education instructor in the adult education setting in Kansas or in the United States. It can be for people who are wanting to continue their education, regardless of their educational background, whether they have completed high school or they've completed some junior college or college. With a lot of people changing careers these days and the high demands of especially the math. We get a lot of returning students who have, graduated high school in the past that come up there to just re-hone some of their skills and stuff that's going to help them in their new post-secondary career that they choose to. But primarily the students that we get up there are students who have gotten off the beaten path a little bit, and education wasn't the first thing on their minds at specific times in their life. So we try to get them restructured and reorganized into the new type of learner that is required by workforce and just the United States as a whole. So we primarily get the students who do not have their high school diploma or their GED, and we get them geared up, teaching them the generals in science, social studies, reasoning through language arts, and of course mathematics, to get them prepped up and ready to go to pass, so they can pass that GED test, so they can kind of get rid of the weight that they've been carrying around with them for a long time. So.
Okay, well, when I'm thinking about Let's Help, I'm thinking of people who are food insecure, people who are needing something quick, something like maybe another winter coat. I'm saying it in the wintertime or something, or they're needing some quick food, something like that. But you're providing something else that goes a little bit deeper. It's something they can actually take with them in everyday life, because some of the problems that they're having is they just really don't have the attire to look well enough to go to an interview, and plus they just don't have the skills, and that's kind of what you're coming in for. Yeah,
we are multifaceted in as far as the outreach, this outreach side of Let's Help, which would be our food bank, our clothing bank, our assistance, our meal that we serve every day. But then, like you said, to go a little bit deeper into it, getting them qualified or educated enough to at least be positive enough, because confidence seems to be the biggest thing that I try to install up there, is because most individuals who are in the walk of life of our clients typically have had their confidence broken, if not shattered completely throughout their life. So yes, getting them looking presentable, thinking that they can go out there and answer hard questions in a job interview, or just basic, just that we offer all the services to kind of get people back up on their feet, because I haven't had the easiest life in the world. It may seem like it a lot of times, but I came from a little bit of similar backgrounds with a lot of clients and students that I deal with, and it kind of helps me relate to them a little bit better. Having a daughter, finding out I was going to be a dad when I was 16 years old. My daughter going to one of my high school basketball games, didn't miss a track meet, so I had to be forced at a real early age to grow up. But still managed to go to school, go to college, and do all of that. So we get a lot of these stories in here. I couldn't do it because of this and because of that. No, I just feel that I can really relate to a lot of these people, because I've kind of had some rough times, and I don't ever try to compare my life to anybody else's. But when people actually see somebody that has succeeded with some tribulations in their life, that a little bit of effort will go a long ways. And a lot of times, a lot of the students that we deal with and clients are, it's kind of hard for them to transition out of the possible just receiving handouts, that they actually are going to get something that they can take that's not just to get them through the cold phase or to get their bellies fed or whatever, that they actually can take something tangible with them and use it progressively through their lives, and not just have to worry about a day-to-day survival, which a lot of our clientele and students do.
And I do think, too, with some people, and this may be a little bit more opinion, but I do think with some people, it's so easy for people to say, just go get a job. Just go out there and, go and make a living so that you can feed your family. It's not that hard. But, I was already a step ahead, because I was born to parents who were not drunks, who were married. And I had a good upbringing. I'm already leaps and bounds ahead than so many other people. And so sometimes you have to meet them where they're at and be able to hand them, not give them something, but you're giving them a way to get the education that they need, to get the food that they need, to get them out so they can do this on their own. Yeah,
it's real cliche for people to say that, typically, because most people that we would conversate with on a day-to-day life are going to have somewhat of a similar upbringing. Stable homes, you know, focused education, and always have that, I don't know, mom, dad figure, you know, that role model in their life. Well, a lot of them, you know, they don't have that. But with the market today, the employer market that we have, you know, we have all these people who have been laid off, fired, you know, wanted to change careers. So you've got individuals with doctorates, with masters, okay, bachelors. I'm kind of going in descending order here, but nevertheless, when you're going up to compete against those people for positions and jobs, and you don't even have even your GED,
you can't put together a normal resume.
Right.
That is automatically okay, chuck this one off the pile.
Right, and that's getting a point through to a lot of them that most of them just don't realize that they actually have to put a little effort for them, and we're kind of, you know, warping towards that as society, a give me society. Well, we've got to try to change that, and you know, that's all I personally can affect is one person at a time, but one after another, after another, after another, hopefully can break the cycle of poverty, which that's in our mission statement, is what we try to.
Of course, today we're here with Jenny Torrance, and of course it's Friday, so I was wondering, do you know of anything good going on this weekend?
Gosh, it's crazy with Fridays. That's like, you
Seriously,
know,
what's going
Nothing
on?
happens in Topeka. There's nothing ever.
there's nothing to ever do.
Never.
Anything fun.
There are so many great things to do, and of course, you know, we were talking with Rusty Haggle's owner. We just talked to him
Earlier
a little bit
this
ago.
week, yeah.
And but you also are a humongous owner down there in the Noto Arts District. It's been big for you. You've had a lot of great business.
Absolutely. You know, the neat thing about the Noto Arts District is not only is it big on First Fridays, but it's big every week. And that's what we have to get people to understand is, one, the importance of supporting local. Two, the importance of going down there not only on First Fridays. And so, you know, most of the stores are open, which I'm sure Hal told you, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And on Fridays and Saturdays, we have great traffic. We have to have double staffing.
Okay. Well, you started out with Serendipity. Did you start out? Was that
That was the first one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's a venue. That's like a bridal venue, but it also is a jam session venue. It's
Absolutely. We've done live comedy. We do class reunions. We have the bridal crawl coming up. So we do lots of different fun things. If you need a big event space, that's what we're there for. And so it started there. That's where it was serendipity, because it was a happy accident. We never planned to do it. And out comes this building that we thought would just be a little fun hobby, and it's turned into a lot more than that.
You're like, this is my job now. I can do this.
It's now my life. We didn't know how to bartend. We didn't know how to do anything.
You do now.
We do now. We went to bartending school and learned.
Oh, I think that's so great.
Of course, we'd like to thank all of our guests for participating in Talk About Topeka, which is a new social media experiment happening here. If you like our content, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter. We're right there. You can share all that content. In order for us to be successful, we need your help. Share that stuff, folks, and tell everybody how cool all the people on this show tonight were, and tell everybody that you're proud to live in Topeka. We'll see you next week.